Hello, this devotion's for Tuesday, and I said I had Irish jokes leading up to St. Patrick's Day, and today's joke is, what do you call an Irish spider? Paddy Longlegs? I know, it's okay. Our Bible verses for today are one of the best known of all Bible stories. And I'm reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verses 11 through 24, the prodigal son. Then Jesus said, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me the share of the property that will belong to me." So he divided his property between the 2 sons. A few days later, the younger son gathered all that he had and traveled to a distant country where he squandered his property on dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout the country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his field to feed the pigs. He would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired hands have bread enough and to spare, and here I am dying of hunger? I will get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired hands.' And so he set off and went to his father. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran out and put his arms around his son and kissed him. Then the son said to his father, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his slaves, 'Quickly bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on my son. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Get the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate." We're not going to go on and read the rest of the story, but what we are going to talk about in today's devotion is this first part of this parable of Jesus. And our devotion for today is called New Shoes. People get excited about new underwear. When I asked our youth group what they had learned while serving in various ministries across the city, one teenager on the mission trip who'd spent the day distributing clothing at a center for those experiencing homelessness responded, "People get excited about new underwear." The rest of our band of volunteers giggled, and I'm not sure that was the desired reaction. This participant tended toward the serious and thoughtful. Perhaps he did want to impress his peers with a quip about underwear, but his answer revealed, nonetheless, that he had noticed the impact of something everyone in our group, no doubt, took for granted. Despite his shy demeanor and reserved manner, he rarely talked in our evening gatherings. He expanded on his initial impression. New socks really make a difference too. He paused and then added, and new shoes. The giggles gave way to a serious conversation. Living on the streets eats away at people's dignity. Walking everywhere not only wears out shoes, it damages feet. Hygiene challenges persist when access to showers, bathrooms, and toiletries is scarce. Used clothing fulfills the purpose of covering and warmth, but who wants used socks or underwear? Doesn't everyone want shoes that are theirs alone? The young man who had distributed clothing that day lamented that there had not been enough new items for everyone, noting the visible disappointment of those who'd missed out. New socks, new underwear, and new shoes could not only make someone's day, they could also enhance someone's health and restore someone's dignity. Sometimes something new signifies that someone is valued, worthy, and noticed. The familiar story of the prodigal son tells of a young man returning home expecting to be shamed or relegated to secondary status, but who instead receives an unmitigated welcome, new clothing, new shoes, and a party. His father sees him, runs out to meet him, and wants only to show him how deeply valued and how beloved he is. Grace never does just enough. By definition, grace overflows, explodes, exceeds, gratuitously manifests in unexpected ways. Grace is exhibited by embarrassing public displays of affection, weeping in joy, running in welcome, new robes, new rings, new shoes, a huge party where all are invited, so no one could possibly question their belovedness or value. People get excited about new underwear and new socks and new shoes. People get excited when their inherent value and dignity, their individuality, and their God-given worth is honored with welcome, celebration, and new shoes, too. What a story. Here are your questions to think about today. When have you experienced a sense of being valued and beloved? How was that expressed? Second, have you ever been surprised by a gracious response when you expected judgment? Have you ever offered grace to someone expecting your judgment? Would you pray with me, please? God of grace, you run out to meet us in love when we anticipate having to beg for your mercy. You see our uniqueness and know our value as your children. As we bask in your embrace, marvel at our new clothing, and celebrate at the banquet given in our honor, our excitement grows. Knowing the joy of such grace, we look to live in ways that cause your mercy and goodness to explode and overflow into every corner of our homes, communities, and world. Amen. Go in peace, beloved of God. Amen.